Thomas here from JPro Studio with a new extension release here. So we've been working on a module for some time. It's a search module, Ajax, Ajax Search. And the background for this is that we ended up having a lot of small custom Ajax search on a lot of our clients' websites. You know, we had one that wanted to search in DOCman or JDownloads plus articles, and another one just wanted to search in products, you know, for e-commerce like Phoca Cart, and it just wanted result no articles and so on. And you know, the Joomla Smart Search, even it can be kind of, there's some really good stuff with Joomla Smart Search, but it's not the fastest all the time. You get the words, you know, but you don't get direct links with it, which is a bit frustrating. You know, we you know, search today needs to be really, really quick. So what we ended up with was a lot of small custom search on our client site. So we wanted to have like one search that fixes it all. So, and we wanted it to be a kind of a lightweight one as well. We don't want too heavy, but still a way to kind of have some smart relevance. So I'm just going to scroll through here and we can see. So it's built for YOOtheme. That's something to say as well. We added the clauses and so on for YOOtheme so that you can style how it looks. I'm going to show you in a bit here. So what sources do we support then? You know, we took all the ones that we mainly work with. So of course we have the Joomla Articles, that's default built in. Phoca Cart, HikaShop, Y2Commerce, Event Booking, JEvents, JDownloads, DOCman, and eDocman, you know. Those are sites that some of our clients are using, you know, so we wanted to have all of those. They are very popular as well. And so the Joomla Articles, you can set up where to search in intro, full text title, and you can set up, it respects the publish date and also ACL, of course, and languages, so that's kind of nice. Product search, you have the same thing here, you know, you can see price and old price, so you get a nice little, you know, price column in the side. DOCman, the same thing there, you can see what file type, is it a PDF, how big is the file, just, you know, nice things like that. Event booking, when you get an event in your search results, you're gonna see the date, so that's kind of nice as well. Smart relevance is something that we added so that it's a little bit, there's two settings. One is just raw Ajax search, you know, and one is with smart relevance where we fine-tuned, like, you know, that if a word is early in the title, it's worth more and so on. So, and this works really, really well. We'll see if I can demonstrate that. You also have some settings for this, so you can actually set source priorities. You can from 0 to 9, you can actually tell, for example, that I want JDownloads to have higher priority. So you have some settings to actually set that up as well. Yeah, and we have the load more. Let's just look. It comes with multi-language for English, Swedish, German, Italian, and Russian. Yeah, and it's built for YOOtheme Pro. We might update this for Bootstrap 5 and a generic CSS. We probably will in the not so distant future, but we are very focused on YOOtheme Pro. I know you are as well, so we focus mainly on that. So that's why we kept doing that. And again, I mentioned before, access level aware. Yeah, some use cases, exactly. Let's take a look. So this is our demo site. Let's just move to the modules and let's search Ajax. I installed it here just before, so now we can take a look. Here you can set the labels, very self-explanatory. So, but you can also use language constants. So you can add a language constant here, so you can have a multi-language site. Here is just some simple, you know, how many results per search, so to speak, and when should it start search. You know, as an Ajax search, it triggers after you type, you know. So if you set it up for 3 here, 2, 3, 4 is probably good settings there. So there, and here comes the big thing then now. So the source, this is the different sources that we support. I can also mention Virtuemart we do not support yet because we upgraded our dev servers to Joomla 6 and we totally forgot that Virtuemart does not work. I think there is some beta. We tried the beta, but we had errors everywhere. So we just didn't, we focused on everything else. But as soon as there's a stable Virtuemart for Joomla 6, we will make sure to update that. It's coming later. Anyway, so we have HikaShop, Phoca Cart, J2, Commerce, Event Booking, JEvents, and so on. And here you can actually see what's installed and what's available, you know. So HikaShop is not installed in this one, for example. Exactly, and here we can look how does that. So Joomla Articles, you know, that's built in. You can turn it off, which is a good feature. So if you do not want to search in Joomla Articles, you only want to search in HikaShop, for example, if it's a web shop, you know, that could be something you want. Then you can turn it off here, which is nice. Here is this priority, so it's 1 to 5. You can actually set this, and it's gonna give more kind of more priority in the search result. We can look at that here. Include categories, so you can directly here, you know, say that I would just want to search in these, for example, which is nice. You know, you have a quick setting for that. That was always a bit tedious with the smart search, we felt. You know, you have to create these filters and so on. Could be a bit frustrating to get that to work like it should. So yeah, so if you when you enable one like this here, you can see all the settings, and they are adjusted for whatever type of source. It's if it is a file doc source, then you're gonna have, you know, those kind of file name, file type, file size, you know. And if it's an event, you have show event category, show event date, you know. So, and here you can set the event date format, which is nice. Oops. Yeah, so that's how it is. So we're very happy with this, you know. It gives a very clear, and it covers a lot of sources, which is super nice, you know. Then we have the display. It's kind of self-explanatory here as well. You can set up how the search should be set up. UIKit input class, what does that mean? Yeah, that means that we add the default search. So the search class, you know, so you can actually style this through search. You know, there is one here. So this one now controls how this looks. Let's go to the, you can see here now. So I put it in navbar. We can take a look at that too, so you see, where is it? Yes, it's in navbar position. So there it is. Then, you know, you can set how the width of it, you know, so if I do a very narrow one, you know, it's gonna be very narrow here. You have some setting, drop down width, how, you know, what's the size of this, max height. You also get a scroll here. I'm gonna show you. Here you can see load more text, you know, so if you want to use a constant, you can use that anywhere here where it's text. Max drop results, that's just, you know, so how many times you can click kind of load more, load more, load more, load more, you know, and 36 is plenty, 24 is probably enough. And missing link, this is a nice thing, you know, because that's all something, you know, for Joomla Articles, for example, we use the intro image, you know, so if you have a blog and you add an intro image, you know, that's what the little square is going to be. So let us just search. Let's do switcher. Yeah, and you see, so this little image is from the, yeah, not that one. Let's see if we have accordion now. We didn't put the, which one did I put image on? I think I put on grid. Let's see. Yeah, so there you can see, here's an image on the Grid Pro article. But then you see the other ones here does not have that image, or they have the same. And what is this image? Yeah, this is the fallback image. So if an article does not have, or a product or file or event does not have a main image, you can set up fallback image, which is really, really nice. Now, I always was frustrated with that when you make a nice search and then some articles does not have an image. Usually it's like the terms and conditions, it doesn't have but it can show up in your search, and that's frustrating, because it didn't line up, some have images and some does not. But you can also hide the image area if there is no image. So if one has an image, you will have a square. If the other one does not, it will just move that layout so that disappears, which is fine for some sites, but I really like when everything is lined up. So this fallback image is something you can set up, and it's going to be used when there is no image. We kept the style here very, very simple. So you can select, light or dark, which is nice because sometimes you have, a secondary UIKit secondary section or something, or toolbar or something where it's dark, white text on dark. Then usually you want, even the search to be like that. So you can set if it's dark or light. You can also set the background of the dropdown, the text color and muted color. So we kept it very, very simple here, but everything has unique clauses everywhere. So if you use a developer tool, you can see, and you can add, I don't think you're gonna need that, but if you want, you can also add, your unique clauses here as well. So you really can narrow down to whatever you want and edit with CSS. But, a tree like this can be huge with settings, but we kept it very simple here, just so that you can, if you want the muted meta text to be smaller, you can just add a custom CSS for that. It's an easier way to work. And here we have the advanced tab. This is simple or smart relevance. That's how the results rank. I really recommend you try the smart relevance because we tuned that really well, and it has a little bit of this fuzzy function. So even if you have a spelling error, it's still gonna pull out good results. So it's really nice, and simple source is just a raw Ajax search, but it still listens to this priority. So you can still use the raw one if you prefer that, and you can set, which component has more priority than others, But with smart relevance, it does it even smarter because, if it's a word that is early in the title, so if you search something and there's a file in JDownloads that is exactly like this, that one is going to be pulled up before an article that has the word last in their article title. So stuff like that, which is really, so it gets mixed, the results, in a very, very nice way. You should try that out. This is just a debug thing that we used. You can try it out. You're gonna see that you can get some JSON. It's in the documentations. You can read about it. Here it's more for developers, but you can check it out in the documentation. We've added some information here. So let's try it some more here just so you see how it kind of works. Here's the demo. So if I do doc, here you can see this is actually DOCman. So you can see some tests there. So if I click one of those, it's going to be a test document. And you have the settings here now. So let's just show you how it works there. If I want to hide, for example, show file name, we can say document category, let's remove that. File type, only have file type and So now you only have PDF size and that it's a document, you know, that's, you know, and if it's an article, you're going to see that. So if I do switcher, you see it's an article, and there is also a document that's this is from eDocman, I think. So that's a different, so it's pretty cool. You can actually mix these around, and if you have shop and so on and so on. Yeah, and if we get more, let's see if we can have, let me see here. We can do CE. Let's, you know what? I'm gonna change this to, I just want to demonstrate the load more. Here, save, just search 2, and then we have display, load more, exactly, it's already turned on. So now we should be able to get a lot. So you see here now, we have there, and then when I click load more, we're gonna load more, and it's a nice scroll here, which works really well in mobile phones as well, you know. So that's the way you kind of get more results like this. So you can see the images here, and then there comes a fallback image. This one does not, but everything lines up nice here now. You can see here. So that's cool. I think, you know, that kind of explains it. Is it anything else that I would like to say? No, I don't think so. We can show a live site that we added. We added it on this site. So if we do, this is a Swedish site, you can see here. So here we search, and here comes DOCman PDFs, and also mixed up with, you know, Joomla Articles. So that's pretty cool. I think, you know, it's a very, very useful. It's cheap, 30 euros, 6 months with support. Check it out. Yeah, that's all for us. We have some other cool things coming up also. I don't know if you've seen, let me just go back to the screen quickly, but we do have HikaShop. So we have a custom source for HikaShop. So you can set up a shop just like our PC UI kit and our VM UI kit. We call this core because we do not have all of these special elements, but it does have, you know, it does have utilities, it does have the important load more and all the needed core stuff, but it does not have like the product grid and so on, because it's much better today to just use sub-layouts and other things in YOOtheme's regular stuff. But we also have J2 Commerce coming up probably next week. I think it will be ready by next week. So it's gonna be J2 UIkit core for J2 Commerce. So you have full template there. And also, I don't know if you've seen the talk. Let me see, where is it? Here we go. Automatic talk. So what is this? Yes, it's one of these things where you can put one of these scroll, you know, table of content things. Check that out. It's also cheap, 20. Yeah, I think that's it. Stay tuned. We're gonna have a lot more coming here in the near future. Thank you and bye-bye.